Yo, what's good? Happy Wednesday, everybody. Next year, Amolytics. I'll give a quick recap of Tuesday and what we did there. We went 4 for 5. Another winning day. That's 4 in a row. Looking for the sweep still, though. Looking to get that today. Edwards, just missed out. Went 0 for 3 for the game and 0 for 4 against Keller. Lindor went 1 for 3 against Gore and then 1 for 4 for the game. Gore pitched pretty well there. The Mets pulled it out in extra innings because that Washington bullpen is not good. Peña went 1 for 3 against Smith, 2 for 4 for the game. Houston actually lost that one against the White Sox. They out hit the White Sox 9-4. So I expect some positive regression for them on today. Crawford went 1 for 3 against Fott and then 1 for 4 for the game. And then Marte went 1 for 3 against Evans and then 1 for 3 for the game. That Arizona and Seattle game was very high scoring. I believe it was maybe 10-3. Arizona won there. So as expected, both of those starting pitchers got shelled a bit. Moving forward on today, I like Peña doubling back there. He's going against. Let me find him. He's going against Sean Burke of the White Sox. Wrong person. All right, there we go. Peña, over the course of the past 2 weeks, is batting a 442 weighted OBA versus right-handed pitching, striking out at a 17% rate. Burke gives up a 138 whip to righties. Hasn't been that good away. Only has 4 games on the year away. Has only made it 6 innings pitched in one of those. That was against Kansas City at the beginning of May. His last away game went 4 2/3 against the Cubs. Gave up 12 base runners and 5 earned with a home run there. I like Houston to bounce back here, as I just mentioned. And then, Peña to lead it off there for him. As, I mentioned yesterday that he hits way better at home than he does on the road. Moving forward, I like Pasquantino of Kansas City going against Schmidt of the Yankees. So Pasquantino over the course of the past 2 weeks is batting 543. My bad, 543 weighted OBA versus right-handed pitching, riding a 10-game hitting streak, striking out at a 2% rate. Schmidt does have some lower numbers against lefties. His whip is a 113 against lefties, but I'm not too much, giving that any. I'm not giving that much weight there. He just got hit up pretty good against Cleveland. Cleveland got 8 base runners, 3 earned, and then in 5 2/3 pitched for him there. And if you know Cleveland's lineup, it's 7 or 8 lefties in their lineup. So they were able to get to him there. As I mentioned, Pasquantino has been on a heater, and I think this continues. Kansas City has already seen Schmidt early on in the year. I believe Pasquantino went 1 for 3 there. And then on their side, New York has already saw Bubich of Kansas City. So this could be, a high-scoring game here, as they're familiar with both pitchers. Next up, I got Yandy Diaz. He's going against Bueller. And why is this? All right, there we go. Bueller is giving a 135 whip to righties. Has been getting hit up, and I know they mentioned that he pitches better at home. However, I'm not really, buying that either. We just attacked him with the Yankees, and then he got hit up against Atlanta the game prior to that. Baltimore, he was at home. He went 5 innings pitched there. Still gave up 6 base runners, 2 earned. Went 2 1/3 against the Mets. I believe he got kicked out of that game. And then Cleveland got to him for 8 base runners and 3 earned there. And then if you look at the home starts, I mentioned Baltimore was a home start. but he went 7 innings pitch against the White Sox and gave up 7 base runners there, 1 earned. Other than that, I don't really count the. All right, you can say the Toronto game was decent, but that was on 2 months exactly, almost 2 months ago, um, at the beginning of April, in which he went six innings pitched in 1/3, gave up 5 base runners there, 1 earned. That was his only real decent start at home that I'll give him. So I don't think he has it. This year, Tampa Bay has been shelling righties, and Yandy has been hitting well. They moved him back into the one spot. Over the course of the years, he's been a consistent hitter here. So I believe that he gets on base here against Buehler. I don't see nothing changing for Buehler just because he changed into Boston. Which is a great spot for righties to pull into that green monster. So I like Yandy here. He's batting a 358 weighted OBA versus right-handed pitching, striking out at an 18% rate as well. And as I mentioned, leadoff spot, they've had him lead off, the last 3 out of 4 games. So I expect him to be leading off tonight as well. Actually, I'll check that real quick, see if they have the lineups out yet. They actually don't have him leading off. He's batting in the 3 hole. Still like the spot there against Buehler. I like for him to keep going here. All right, moving forward. Next up, I like Gunnar Henderson of Baltimore going against Casey Mize of the Tigers. So over the course of the past month, Casey Mize has given up a 196 whip to lefties. If you know Baltimore, they're full of lefties, maybe like 6 in the lineup, 6 or 7 in the lineup. Gunnar being one of them. Over the course of the past 2 weeks, Gunner's hitting a 388 weighted OBA versus right-handed pitching, striking out at an 18% rate. And Mize, has been getting hit up recently. Just went to the White Sox and gave up 10 base runners, 2 earned there, and 4 2/3. And then again, the game before that, at Kansas City, went 3 1/3, gave up 10 base runners, 3 earned. And only went 5 against Cleveland at home. I'll give up 5 base runners there and 1 earned. I like this for Gunnar. I like this for Baltimore as well. If Evelyn wasn't on the mound, I would say take Baltimore money line. I believe this is a high scoring game here though for both teams. But moving forward, last one, I have Soto of the Mets. So I know that there's been a lot of talk about Soto this year, in which he hasn't really been playing bad. He just hasn't been playing up to like his normal standard. But over the course, I just mentioned him. I believe that was Saturday. I mentioned him. I believe he's back. He's hitting the ball well, squaring it up. Blasting. I like this spot for him. Irvin struggles with lefties. Soto's, over the course of the past 2 weeks, is hitting a 504 weighted OBA with the 5% K rate. And then I was looking at, Irvin's game. He just got shelled against the Cubs and Arizona. For the Cubs, he gave up 10 base runners, 3 earned. At Arizona, he gave up 11 base runners, 6 earned. So I like this, and I don't expect the Washington to get to Peterson. Being a lefty, they struggle with lefties. But either way, I like Soto to keep going here against Irvin. My top 5 in order is Soto, Gunnar. Actually, switch that. I'm sorry. I said it wrong. Gunnar, Soto, Peña, Yandy, and then Pasquantino. Those are my top 5. And then for home run wise, I'm going after Buehler, who I just mentioned for Yandy. But this time I'm going to go with Caminero as the one that hit it off of him. Caminero has a 475 ISO against Buehler's pitch mix, being a sinker, slider, and four-seamer, his top three. And then he has a 30% blast rate against it as well. Over the course of the past month, Buehler's given up a 40.9 fly ball rate with, like, I want to say about 8% infield fly ball rate. As I mentioned yesterday, I look at that as well. Make sure they're not giving up a whole bunch of infield fly balls that is skewing their fly ball rate. And then he's also given a 40.9 hard hit rate. I like this for Caminero. He can get one over that green monster. He's been hitting for power for over the course of the past month or so. And as I said, Buehler's been bad. I watched him give up two right-handed home runs against Atlanta, being Acuna and Riley out there. I'm really attacking that sinker, in which I believe Caminero can hit. But either way, those are my top five. That's my home run play. If you want to be notified when I post, please subscribe and turn on your notifications. Like, comment, share. I thank you guys for tuning in. Let's get this sweep.